Hi, this is Mrs. Maglinte. Welcome to Waldorfia Watercolor. Most of my Waldorfia lessons are based on the Waldorf curriculum for students grades 1 through 5. But their series of summer lessons can be enjoyed by grades 2 and up, and also adults. Working with wet-on-wet watercolor is fun and very rewarding, as the colors flow so easily on the paper. These summer lessons will focus on the garden, and I will be sharing my knowledge of herbs and flowers growing in my garden. I'll talk about the uses of herbs and flowers and how to grow them, the different varieties you might want to try, how to harvest them, and more. I hope you will join me for these summer offerings and that you and your family can enjoy them together. So today we're going to be painting some lavender, and we're going to be using a watercolor paper from Hahnemühle, but you could use any good quality watercolor paper. And the colors we're going to use today are by Stockmar, but again, you could use different watercolor paints if you like. We're going to be using an ultramarine blue, a carmine red, and a lemon yellow. And then the brushes I'm going to use, this is a 1-inch flat or a detail brush, but at Waldorfia we call this one Peter paintbrush, and this is Tiny Tim. Now, if you don't have the Tiny Tim like this, you might have a brush like this that has a really nice point on it, and that would work really well. I'm going to be using an inexpensive mixing tray like this to mix a beautiful violet color for the lavender blossoms. Then I just have a washcloth here to dry my brushes on. And I also have a painting cloth, and this is just a napkin, a cloth napkin, and I'm going to use that to dry my paper with. So today I want to start with our verse, and I'm going to be doing the one colors shine around us. So I'm going to count to 3, and let's all start together. Colors shine around us, from earth and sea and sky, pale and light, deep or bright, they show us earth's glory and her might. And I have a short poem from Alfred Noyes. Lavender, lavender, that makes your linen sweet, the hawker brings his basket down the dingy street. The dirty doors and pavements are simmering in the heat. He brings a dream to London and drags his weary feet. Lavender, lavender, from where the bee hums, to the loud roar of London, with purple dreams he comes. From ragged lanes of wildflowers to purple fields in the sun, with a basket full of lavender and purple dreams, he comes. So I've had my paper soaking in some cool water, and I'm going to give it a shake. And then I'm going to put it on a piece of foam core that has contact paper on it, so that I don't have to worry about the water seeping into the board. Then I take my cloth and I place it gently over the paper, and I just dry it like this. So we want to keep the paper moist, but we don't want too much water on it. Now let's put this cloth away because we don't want to get the paint on this one. We want to keep the drying cloth nice and clean. You also might want to have a Kleenex if you have any spills or anything that you would like to clean up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wet our brush, and we can also look a little bit at our lavender. what I wanted to show you was that you can see the lavender. It has a little bit of a curve to the stem, and the leaves mainly grow up from the bottom. There aren't a lot of leaves from this one space here. And there will be some spaces where we just see the stem. If your lavender is flowering, there'll be like little lavender flowers here. And this is a different lavender. This is a Hidcote lavender. And this one is a Provence lavender. So if you paint your lavender blossoms a little bit wider, it'll still be representative of lavender. So let's go ahead and mix that beautiful violet color that we're going to need. And I'm going to go ahead and use this brush for that. So I'm going to always stir up your colors from the bottom because they tend to settle. So I'm going to take some of this blue and I'm going to put it into my little container here. I only need to use one of these little compartments. And you know what? We don't need that much because a little paint goes a long way. And then I carefully rinse out my brush really, really well. And I'm going to take a little bit of the red. Not too much because the red is very intense. Then I'm going to mix up my color. And I can try it right here. So I need a little bit more red. That looks like a better lavender color. So mix up your violet color the way that you would like it to look. And now we're going to go ahead and use Peter paintbrush. I'm stirring up my yellow. So a good time to pick your lavender is when the sun is shining, but it's not too hot, because the essence and the oils in the lavender keep going up to the top of the plant. And if it's very hot, they won't be very active in the buds. So here's our beautiful sun. Now rinse off your brush really well. And now, many times when we're going to be picking lavender, it's the summer, and we may find a beautiful blue sky. So this blue sky filled all the corners of the universe, but it did not meet the yellow right away. So let's go ahead and put that beautiful blue down. Help it to fill the corners of the universe. And then we go ahead and meet the yellow with our blue. And you'll find that where the yellow meets the blue, you're going to form a beautiful green. Okay, let's rinse out Peter paintbrush really well, and we're going to set him aside. And we're going to pick up Tiny Tim, and we're just going to create our stem with the blue to start. And then we'll add the yellow, and we'll allow them to blend on the paper into the colors that we are hoping to find. So let's go ahead and put the first lavender. And then this one kind of comes a little more of a curve. And we have one more little lavender here. So they're all reaching upwards towards the sun. Now, let's put in some of those beautiful lavender leaves. So we can kind of push down a little bit with our brush here. Sometimes we have just little narrow ones going up. Now let's rinse off our brush. And we're going to dip into that beautiful lemon yellow. And we're going to follow the same lines. And look, there's our green. So the water and the earth nourished the lavender, and then the sun brought out the beautiful green leaves. Now before you dip back into your yellow, if you need more yellow, be sure to rinse your brush. Otherwise, you're going to be adding green to your yellow. Now, just like any plant, a lavender has to have roots. So let's bring those roots in. Now let's rinse out Tidington really well so we can go ahead and paint our lavender blossoms. So we can do some little strokes, just the tip of our brush. Remember, leave some little spaces. You notice how I'm painting with this part of the brush, the tip. Just take your time. And then we can take our blue. Let's put a little bit of blue color on there also. So I'm trying to make some little clumps here. If we put a dry brush on there, we can lift off a little of that purple that's creeping down. And then we'll take the back of our brush handle and we'll put our initials. So you can use any brush handle, and when you push down on the paper with that, it'll indent the paper and you'll be able to show what your initials are. So if you enjoyed this lesson, I hope you will consider thinking about subscribing, and you'll get information about the new videos coming up, and I can also share with you some more of my garden tips. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to painting with you again. Bye-bye.